Welcome, everybody. We are so looking forward to spending the next 30 minutes with you so you can learn a little bit more about our transition to executive management program overview. Next slide, Lisa. Thank you so much. So the Center for Professional Executive Development, and our acronym is CPED, if I use that during the webinar, we offer programs and certificates that will give you relevant skills needed to advance your career. All of our programs offer interactive learning sessions facilitated by instructors with practical business experience. We also partner with organizations to provide customized learning solutions and professional development programs, coaching, and consulting. For more information on the Center for Professional Executive Development, you can visit our website at uwcped.org. In terms of today's webinar, we want to make sure that you get the information that you are looking for. So we are on a Zoom platform. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask during today's webinar, you can submit those questions using either the chat and or the Q&A buttons at the bottom of the Zoom webinar screen. And you can see that there are arrows showing you how to use these features. We will pose the questions that are submitted during the Q&A at the end of today's webinar. So if you're asking questions throughout the session, we welcome those, but in order to stay on time and be able to go through all of the information, we are going to save those until the end of the webinar. And there will be a recorded link to the webinar, which will be sent to you within the next few days. So just wanted to let you know that this webinar is being recorded. In addition, oftentimes internally for transition to executive management, we use an acronym, either TEM or TEM. We're going to try and use the full title of our program today, but if you hear that, just because it's going to slip occasionally, that is what we are referring to. So I'm going to turn it over to Lisa Yaffe, who's going to share with us a little bit more about the transition to executive management program. Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome. Hello, everyone. How exciting that we are getting to connect with folks who are interested in our transition to executive management program. This is a program we have been running for a number of years. We're very proud of it. It's our highest level program for helping people to really think about how do they elevate their leadership to a higher level? How do they pursue being on succession charts and rounding out their experience and understanding how to expand beyond their current work and their current functional focus. So what we're going to cover today is a little bit more about me, the program itself. We'll talk about the schedule of the program, who should attend. We'll talk about some of the topics we're going to be covering in the curriculum. We'll talk about the assessment that we use that we find to be really complementary to our program and helping people to understand what kind of impact they have on an organization. We're going to stop by and look at our instructor profile and get a idea of who's in the classroom, leading us through activities and content and challenges to help us grow as leaders. And last, we'll just check in on what are some of those learning outcomes that we have seen people from this program take away to help them contribute in a bigger, more intentional way at their organization. So during the webinar, what we're going to be doing is help you think about how the program supports leadership succession and advancement. We're going to have a few minutes for you to give us your questions and surface those questions that you put into chat. And we're going to make sure that we save some time so that you can understand who it is we're putting in front of the classroom and who it is we're inviting you to learn from and learn with. So a lot of verbiage here. Really, what you need to know about me is I have such a passion for helping leaders grow, and I absolutely love helping people think about how to look beyond what they're currently doing and how to get confident in making sure that their voice is heard and that they're contributing to directional decisions and partnerships across functions, making sure that they're thinking about how do they really impact culture and organizational outcomes. My background was in marketing research for quite a while, but I made my move more into leadership and leadership development via HR, and that's what brought me here. So when we talk about this transition to executive management program, what we're doing is aiming to challenge you to think more systemically, partner more cross-functionally, and make sure that you are feeling confident about asking thoughtful questions. This is here so we can help current and prospective executive team members to make sure that they're impacting the organization. They're rethinking about what is the opportunity in their role? What's the potential? What does success look like? How do I get intentional about building partnerships at my level and at all the levels where we're contributing to handoffs and creating value in the value chain throughout the organization? And we really want to be intentional about developing ourselves as leaders, but also setting the example of development so that we can bring others along with us as we elevate our impact. We want to encourage leaders to think outside of the normal areas that they're focused in on. We certainly have responsibilities for our teams and our functions, and a lot of our impact comes from having a broader perspective about the organization and what it's trying to accomplish and what it needs to be able to do, its capabilities. So this is going to help you think about how do you partner across functions in a different way, in a more intentional way, so that you can expand your impact on the organization more broadly and therefore continue to have more impact and eventually create more capability to take on more advanced responsibilities. So here's our program schedule. We do a virtual kickoff in February of 2026. This is a 2-hour moment where you can get to know a little bit more about the program, but also meet some of the folks in the cohort. The in-person sessions are for 3 days in March from the 3rd to the 5th, in April from the 7th to the 9th, and in May from the 12th to the 14th. Those dates obviously in future years would be similar, but maybe fall somewhat differently in terms of the month. But usually we are delivering this program in March, April, and May. It's full day, so we start at 8:15, we go until 5 p.m. We do have 2 dinners, one to welcome the cohort and celebrate the learning that we're about to embark on, as well as a graduation dinner that allows us to reflect on what do we want to do with this experience that we've had and what do we want to make sure we take forward. So who is this program aimed for and at? It's meant to help senior leaders as well as entrepreneurs where those individuals have growth potential. They want to have a higher level of impact within and beyond their role. These include managers, directors, functional leaders who have some sort of potential and ambition to advance into more higher level cross-functional roles. This attracts leaders who have at least 10 years of experience in management. These are people who are seeking to broaden their perspective beyond their current function. Here's the type of thing that we spend time on, and I'm not going to read all of these to you, but to give you a flavor of what it is we're aiming for, we start, when we can, we start our program with the idea of strategy and how do we think about strategy. It's the word strategy is used just ubiquitously. Really, what are we talking about when we're talking about competitive strategy that makes a difference in an industry and where those industry opportunities are? Secondly, we spend time talking about expanding our thinking about what do we need to do as organizations in order to compete in the world that is ever changing when it comes to big data and digital strategy and innovation. And everything that we're saying here that about competing in a business context is also important in government and in nonprofit, regardless of what domain we're in. We need to be thinking about how do we keep up and take advantage of the changing opportunities, changing marketplace, changing technology. This is what these first days are meant to do, is help you to think more expansively about that. Then what we're doing is trying to help us think about, all right, now how do we build an organization to do what it needs to do in the future? And that includes looking at how do we think about getting close to the customer, thinking about through a marketing lens, and then how do we design marketing strategy in order to support that. We talk about mastering the matrix. That is, how do we get intentional about creating partnerships, making sure that our own behaviors are fostering those trusting partnerships and also encouraging others within our teams to do the same. We talk about people. What are some of the challenges with the bigger marketplace changes going on and the very significant changes in talent markets, and how are organizations understanding that challenge? How are they addressing it? Sponsoring change. Any organization that is staying stagnant is probably not going to be meeting the demands of the future. So we need to be thinking about how do we as leaders not just function as change agents, but how do we advocate for change effectively? And how do we sponsor it, making sure that it has all the support it needs to be effective, to be institutionalized into the organization? We talk about leadership impact. What does the research say in terms of what makes effective leadership? What are the types of styles and behaviors that are expansive for an organization? What are the types of styles and behaviors that are contractive? We have some great research about that. And this is where the assessment helps us to understand how we, as individuals and all the participants in this program, impact others. We dig into the numbers. For some people, this is the comfort zone. For others, it can be a bit intimidating. But what we do is make sure that we're thinking at a high level, what do executives need to know in order to understand the business and how to talk about investments, how to think about them? What are the ratios that are important for your business, given your strategy? We talk about operations and supply chain. How do we make sure that we're aligning our operations with the strategy? What are some of the concepts that help us to do that or can serve as barriers? And how do we help to understand how we're delivering our products or our services in a way that is in line with the strategy? The last up on our list is negotiations. So we are thinking about how do we help you have a frame of mind of how to participate at a higher level in negotiations, whether you're negotiating with other people within your organization, maybe important vendors or strategic partners. How do you understand your own style and how you can use different strategies to approach negotiations? So it's a lot, jam-packed. This is a reference to our really significant partner in the assessment space, Human Synergistics International. Human Synergistics has just been really invested for decades in how organizations, teams, uh, individuals, how they have an impact on others, how they drive their own effectiveness, how they even think about what does effective leadership look like. There's a bunch of research and data we lean into here. The particular assessment we choose for this program is our highest level one, which looks at how do you want to drive and motivate others? And how do people see you driving and motivating others? Which of those ways that you're approaching it maybe are serving you toward your ends, and which of them may be getting in the way or diluting your efforts? So it's a very robust assessment. It's a big investment on the part of you and your raters, and we find really impactful. That then requires that we ask people to give us the names of some people who are going to take the assessment. As part of our program, in addition to all the classwork we talked about, there is a 1.5 hour virtual debrief where we make sure you understand what your assessment is telling you and how to approach all of that data in order to get a positive return on investment in the effort you and your raters made into that assessment. So then an outcome of that is on our cohort's responsibility to figure out how are they going to focus on some goals, some specific takeaways and actions that they want to implement in order to help them achieve the kind of leadership they're aiming for. So I'm going to pause right now because we have with us on this call one of our Center for Professional and Executive Development team members who is also an alumnus of this course, and she has something to share about how she felt about this assessment and her learning.
Yeah, this was probably the single most important content that I was able to consume over the whole course of my career. And I think the leadership impact assessment was the thing that really did it for me, because afterward, I've had assessments where we learn about our style, we learn about our how we are showing up in the workplace. But what I really took away from this was the impact that I was having across the organization. At the time that I took this, I was moving, through the organization as a frontline manager, and am now a senior director of our client experience team. And I have a seat at the leadership table. And I really, I'm on the leadership team, and I really believe that this program and this assessment in particular were significant in helping me to grow and develop to get to this point in my career.
Thank you, Helen. So here is a moment for us to check in on who is our team for 2026. Most of these folks have been teaching for quite a while in this program. A couple of them are new faces, and they are really an exciting group of instructors. I'm thrilled to continue to see the impact they make in the classroom in terms of helping us achieve our objective of elevating people's leadership in terms of their intentions, their definition of success, their enterprise outcome focus. These folks have risen to the challenge. So the first one is Dr. Adam Bach, and Adam is just a really energetic instructor. He has a very rich experience set in the area of consulting and teaching. He is one of the professors from the university. In the business school, he teaches strategy and innovation. He's written books. He himself is an entrepreneur, and people really enjoy his ability to take something like strategy and make it relevant and meaningful and applicable to their industry and their company. Anne Martel. Anne has a rich experience in finance. She has come from being a controller and an accountant to being a CFO of multiple organizations. And she has found her passion in educating people in the space of finances. So she really makes education of finances fun. And even those who are deeply knowledgeable in this space tend to enjoy and learn quite a bit from Anne. The next person, Artel Smith. Artel has decades and decades in the human resources space, and he's our people leadership leader. He helps us to understand how do we think about the challenges facing us as employers, and how do we make sure that we're thinking about not just how to attract and engage people, how to develop them, how to align them, how to really make sure that we are creating an environment where we can keep and attract the talent we need to, especially in this really time of unsurpassed change when it comes to the demographics of the generations in the workplace. So Artel is also very enjoyable and has a great sense of humor, so people enjoy him very much. Bob is new to our class, and Bob is our instructor. He's also a university professor, and he is our instructor in the space of operations. He has lots to his name and in terms of authoring documents and papers in the operations space. And he has been working on how to make these concepts really accessible through what are they called? They are when you work through an example. I'm blanking on the name, but Bob is really helping us think about how do we make it real and applicable in terms of concepts of operations by doing simulations. That's the word that escaped me, by doing simulations. Jeff has been in the change management space for a long time, and he contributes at the national level as a board member for one of the change management institutes. Jeff helps us think about all of the levels of change that need to happen, the personal level, the team level, the organization level, and helps us to think about how do we as leaders really appreciate that and plan for it and support change as it's happening. There's me. I have now decades of time working in the space of leadership development and culture. So we would spend time on those topics together. And this is one of the things I really most enjoy is helping people own their responsibility as a culture leader as they advance up an organization, as well as own their own intentional leadership development. So they grow and they set that cultural expectation of others in the organization. Michael Johnson, he is very steeped in marketing. He's another one of the professors from the university, and he has a real passion around customer service and culture, and also a lot of knowledge and advice on how to turn that into effective marketing strategy. Roberto Munoz is newer to our team. He has tons of experience in sales and marketing, and so he has practical experience in negotiations. He's also been teaching in the space of negotiations for quite a while, and we're excited to bring him to the team as well. Susan Zolmansky Finnerty literally wrote the book on managing the matrix, which aims at getting really intentional about investing in cross-functional partnerships. This is a very popular day for helping people think about how do I set goals about expanding beyond my current technical functional area of expertise and knowledge and how I spend my time. Last but not least, we have Dr. Vallabh Sambamurthy. We call him Dean Samba. He is Dean of the Business School, and he came to us saying, I want to teach in this transition to executive management program because I think it's really important that executives are thinking about how markets are changing. How do we make sure that we as leaders are meeting the moments, understanding where are those opportunities, what are the shifting dynamics in terms of industries and platforms, and how is social media and big data, all of that driving opportunities and leaving other organizations non-competitive. So that is a terrific opportunity to expand our perspective. Phew. All right. So what does that mean in terms of outcomes? We want to help you have a cross-functional view of things to make sure that we are giving you some exposure in the precious time we have together that can boost your comfort in speaking about challenging some of your cross-functional leaders. We want you to understand your impact currently and help you understand what's the path towards having a more empowering impact in the organization where you're getting more of the potential of your people, the people you touch and the people you lead. We want to make sure that you're aligning the organization in terms of processes and capabilities and outcomes in line with strategy. We want you to be thinking about those partnerships that need to be fostered, invested in at your level and the level of the folks who report to you. We want to make sure your negotiation skills are elevated to the point that you are more intentional about how do you want to enter into conversations and what does success look like in negotiating with important partners in your world. And last, we want to make sure that you are fully prepared to be thinking about how do you lead a culture? How do you contribute to the current culture and help to create and foster a culture that's going to help the organization to reach higher levels of productivity and performance? All right. I've been talking enough. I'm going to hand this one over to Helen.
Well, I think the last thing that we'd really like to just share is the things that I felt about this program and are reiterated in some of the comments that we've gotten from our participants over the years. The one that really sticks out to me is I see myself differently today than before I started. Based on what I learned, I am more prepared for a senior level role, and I couldn't agree with that more. I think one of the other areas of this program that was so impactful for me was negotiations. I was kind of afraid of it. And it turned out to be my favorite part of the whole program besides the assessment. So I guarantee anyone who is interested in coming through the program, you are going to be a changed person after this, a changed professional, I should say, after this program. So I hope you'll join us.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, Lisa. And we've got a little bit of time now for some questions for the group. So I'm going to read some, and then Lisa and or Helen, you can field them. One of them that came through is, will participants need prior leadership experience to benefit from this program?
I can take that one.
Sure.
One of the first conversations I have with any group of people is you're already leading. Even if perhaps you are not in what would be considered a leadership team in your organization or participating in a job that is defined as leader, what we are helping people understand is that how they show up, the things they emphasize, how they influence people, all of those are important. We do, though, tend to find people who have had some kind of process or people leadership by the time they are in this class.
Great. Thank you, Lisa.
Mhm.
Another question that came through is, and maybe Helen, you could take this one. How does the program ensure I can apply what I learn immediately in my role?
Oh my gosh, I don't have enough time to go through all the ways. Um, that's sort of a tenet of our organization's approach to learning is that we want to give you very deeply researched, based information, but we're in the classroom giving you things that are tactical and you can actually walk out and practice when you leave. Susan Finnerty's program section on Master the Matrix, you're building a plan while you're in the classroom so that when you walk out of the classroom, you have an action plan to go and take, put in place. Is that answering the question you think, Natalia?
It is. It
Okay.
is. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And then, are there opportunities to stay connected with the cohort and instructors post-program? Because obviously you're going to be spending 3 full days and 3 full days and 3 full days, and you're going to have that opportunity to network. And, I think about even going through an MBA, what that looks like post-learning and building those professional and personal relationships. What does that look like?
I'm gonna, if can I jump in quick?
Sure.
I think again, one of the tenets of our learning environment is that we're encouraging that a lot. But you spend so much time together in this program that you become very close colleagues, and you're absolutely staying connected with one another afterward. Lisa, do you want to? You see all the cohorts, so I can only speak from my own personal experience.
No, and it's heartwarming to see it. We see a lot of bonding within the program. We know that there's communication happening from month to month because we hear that talked about as well. And we know that they have interest in continuing to connect with each other. So that's all wonderful. The instructors, many of them say, "Here's my email or here's my LinkedIn profile, please reach out to me." So they do make themselves accessible.
Great, thank you. And Lisa, if you wouldn't mind just going to the closing slide, we do have a question around pricing. So if you want to send an email to info@uwcped.org, we will have somebody reach out to you regarding pricing. It's also on our website. The reason there's not a flat price is because we do have partnerships with a variety of organizations, and some of the pricing for partner organizations might differ than individual pricing. We also offer some scholarship type pricing. So I encourage you to either use the QR code to scan to get additional information. You can also go to uwcped.org. You'll see transition to executive management on there with the pricing. And in addition to that, post this webinar, you'll receive some follow-up information, and we can have you meet with one of our business solutions advisors to help you answer any additional questions you have and work with you around that pricing component. So with that, I just want to say thank you so much to Lisa for sharing, to Helen for giving your perspective as a graduate of Transition to Executive Management. And we really look forward to having you as a participant come and ask us questions, enroll in the program. It truly is a mindset shift, a career shift, and an opportunity for professional growth to really move to the next level of leadership and growth in your career. So with that, thank you so much and have a fantastic rest of your day.